When it comes to NES collecting, there's no doubt it's one of the consoles that reigns supreme in terms of popularity, but some people who are new to retro video games might be wondering if the system is right for them. So I wanted to chat about modern day NES collecting and see if it's still worth getting into. Let's check it out. So the big reason a lot of people go into collecting for the NES is because of nostalgia, and the large groups of older individuals who want to relive their older memories, which isn't much of a surprise when the console sold just shy of 33 million units in just North America alone. But with the console selling so many units, you'd expect it to be cheap, and well, for the most part, the systems themselves are cheap. It's the games that aren't. Nintendo is one of the biggest, if not the biggest franchise people think of when it comes to older video games. Titles like Mario, Zelda, and Metroid hold a strong legacy, and this means they're going to be more desired on older systems. So what I'm saying is, be prepared to pay a premium on first-party NES games that were enjoyed by many. But you don't have to go the route of getting the popular titles everyone enjoyed. You can still find cheap NES games, they just might not be what you had in mind. Still, there are a ton of games that are worth very little and are actually fun to play, because well, the cost of a game doesn't always mean it's going to be good. Trust me, I played enough terrible games to know that rarity does not correlate with quality. So in general, the NES still holds a lot of cheap fun games that are easy to pick up and play. Now, if you're wanting something a bit more niche, then the NES has got you covered as well. This is because there were a lot of third-party games published on the system, and the majority are again fairly cheap, but usually lacking in quality. Now, third-party NES games can also be expensive just due to their rarity. The Bible games are a really good example of this. Nonetheless, NES prices are very high right now, and there are a lot of alternatives for playing NES games without emptying your wallet. This will require emulating, which is a massive topic on its own that I'm not going to delve deep into, but I will say that NES games are much easier to emulate than other consoles like the N64, so that's always something to keep in mind. Now, if you're wanting to collect NES games for the main purpose of it being an investment, I would heavily advise against this. And the reason for that is because I do not foresee NES games becoming cheaper in the next 10 to 20 years, as less and less people have nostalgia for it. But again, that's just my prediction and it might be wrong. So, to conclude, NES collecting is only something I'd recommend to people who insist on playing the original hardware. If you're on the edge about collecting games for the system, I'd honestly tell you to look at alternative options. Personally, I don't mind grabbing a few NES games here and there, but it's not a system I go out of my way to collect for. It's just too expensive, and there's a lot of great alternatives for playing the games on other devices. And that's where I'm going to end this. Please let me know what your thoughts are on NES collecting and if you still think it's worthwhile nowadays. And with that said, please subscribe as it really does help the channel, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.